Hello, Kamila. Or Camila. Tell me if I said it wrong. Hi, Tashana. I don't typically go live. Hi, LMB at this time, so I'm curious. Hi, Davi. Who will show up of my typical people? Hi, Soul Mistress. I'm usually live much later. Hi, it looks like a tired face. Hi, dark skin lover girl. That's my sub. Hey, Ian. That's my sub. Hey, Jay. Okay. Hey, Jay Lachelle. Yes, thank you. I'm so glad. Yeah. Hi, De'Ara. Y'all always correct me if I say your name wrong. Hey, my other sub, Olim. Hey, y'all. Hey, thank you for the likes. I was like, I never go live this early in the day, so I have no idea who's gonna get on here. Thank you so much, Soul Mistress Supreme. Good morning, y'all. Y'all tell me where you are. Oh, I'm so glad. Hi, Gigi. Hey, girl. That's another one of my subs, y'all. Tell me, hi, Mimi. Tell me where y'all are. I'm curious what your time zone is. I'm in Mountain Time, so it's 9:30 where I'm at almost. Well, 9:26. Good morning, good morning. Happy hump day. Oh, Montreal. Okay. Good morning, Texas. Okay. A couple of people in Texas. Okay. Pacific time. Period, Kita. Are you a Cali girl? Louisiana. Okay. Good morning, Jasmine. Oh, Gigi, I didn't know you were Eastern time. Hi, Millie Mae. Okay, DFW. Look at y'all. Y'all are everywhere. Wait, what time is it in Montreal? I did not know you were in Florida this whole time, Gigi. You probably have told me that before. Okay. NYCN. Good morning from the DMV. I love it. Okay, Kita. I see. Good morning, y'all. Hey, Lynn. Hi, Polis. Hi, BBN Wildcats. Hi, Party Gets. Okay. I realized I couldn't finish reading it. Hi, Sunshine. Hi, Nietzsche. Hi, Gina. Okay, period. Hey, P. Hey, Igloo. Yeah, I realized I was saying somebody's handle on here, and I was like, oh, I better not say the rest of that sentence. Hi, Kayla. Dark Skin Lover Girl, that's so funny. No, it's not on yet. It is on, but the preview is already out. It's kind of a whack preview, but it's what they gave us. I'm really hoping. Hi, Kimberly. Tia, the reunion comes out on next Monday. I'm really, Gigi. I'm really hoping they don't play with me. But I feel like they might play with me because they played with us last reunion. You're welcome, Tia. Hi, Anita. I hope so. Oh, thank you so much for saying that. Igloo. I might summon Chris. Gigi. He's at actual work at his job. I never see clients on Wednesdays. So this is like my usual. Hi, Shayla. I kind of feel the same. P, we're going to have to see. Hi, Negrita Cubana. Hi, Lou. Hi, Jojo. It's out on Monday. Hi, Marie. Oh, thank you, dark skin lover girl. Thank you, M, for the follow. Hi, Emirates. Hi, Shara. Hi, Jasmine. I know. I'm ready to see it, and I just feel like if they do us how they did us last year, it might piss me off a little bit. Thank you for the gifts, y'all. Hi, Brianna. I'm only going to be on here for a little bit, y'all. You think it's going to be messy? I don't know. I felt like last year they didn't give us enough time to really be messy. Okay, you know what, Gigi? Probably. I mean, not even really low key is Nick messy. Like, I think he's just messy a little bit, But also, like, I know. Igloo. Smut please. No, for real. For real. Kelly, I feel like the same. You know what, Shayla? I actually feel like she was giving that smoke to Coco, and that's going to piss me off if that's true. Hi, Camille. Hi, Willy Nilly. That's going to piss me off if that smoke is only for Coco, but How I've seen Olandria move. Sandy, why is it gonna piss me off, or why do I think it's for Coco? I'm gonna answer both. It would piss me off because I feel like there are people that are more deserving of it than Coco. Hello. Oh, so last time, Shira, on the last hi Clark and Taylor fan page, on the last reunion season, like season 6 reunion, um they were clearly sponsored by Pizza Hut. So they were giving, hi Jasmine, hi Violet. They were giving like so much airtime to us watching them fucking eat Pizza Hut. Like, do not piss me off. Y'all were here for 12 hours. Why is this what we're giving? Why is this what we're giving? It had me tight too, Shayla. Like, please, please. I'm not eating no Pizza Hut just because y'all eating it. I don't care. Oh, Ashley. Great question. But so the reason why I feel like it's for Coco is because of the way that we watch Olandria move all season. And she's already told us that she's hyper aware of how she is perceived. I actually don't think it's for Hilga, Clark and Taylor fan page. I hope so, Emma. I'm famous now, Camille. How? I feel like, hi, Mish. I feel like, because of how we watched her move all season and her saying like she's very aware of how she's perceived as a Black woman, like all valid things. Clark and Taylor fan page, I'm not even gonna hold you. You are definitely gonna have some people that have some smoke for them in here. But I definitely feel like, I don't know if Clark, but definitely probably Taylor. I think so too, Violet. But anywho, sorry. Let me finish my thought real quick. Yeah, the way that we watched her like be so mindful of how she is perceived, I think she might take like the easy like person, you know, like she might say, and to be fair, Coco does deserve a little bit, a smidge of smoke. Thank you, Gigi. Like just but like barely a smidge of smoke. Like she was so irrelevant, but for her to jump on, good morning, Amina, for her to jump on, exactly, Dobby. She's very diplomatic in a lot of ways. But what I will credit her around is like, not that I just want to make everything about astrology, but she is a Gemini, and my baby is a Gemini, and I know that, you know, they at some point do have a moment, you know what I mean? And so I will say, and that's true, like, right, we've seen Coco, good morning, Keisha Ann, we've seen Coco saying like how she regrets certain things. So I do think that she was talked to. I hope so too. I hope so too, that she will say, you know what, my fans got me. I can say what I need to say. Exactly. I did not see that she said that, Cha-Cha. Hi, Cha-Cha, good morning. I did not see that. I don't know why she would at this point. I'm sure it's being one of the things that's probably like talked about the most on her platform. You know what I mean? And so I do think that like maybe Olandria will have like a response to other people, but I think that, you know, it being Coco is like the easiest target. And I don't mean it as though she doesn't deserve the smoke when I say target, y'all. I just mean she's like the easiest person to come for because she'll probably face the least amount of like public reaction about it. And I don't know if Olandria wants to deal with the public reaction because she is so mindful of how she receives a public reaction, right? The way that one girl's fans like came, you know what I mean? Like came for her for nothing. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. I'm Emma, I don't know if I think nobody will, but I think that definitely they're all going to try to keep it cute to some extent. Okay, who do y'all think deserves the most smoke? Jasmine says Taylor deserves the most smoke. No, I don't think she's shady, Renee. I think that she's very mindful. No, it drops Emmy on Monday. This is the trailer. Okay. I don't think that she's shady. What I think is that she's mindful of how she's received by the public. Right? As Black women, we do have to be mindful, like, and at this point now she has a brand to protect. It's not even just about like her pride or her ego at this point, right? Like she is a brand. And so she does have to be even more mindful, I would say now. Okay. You know what Andy did say on Watch What Happens Live, that Hilga had a lot of things to respond around, like Clark and Taylor fan page. Yes, it's hi K Boogie. Um, okay. Yeah. You know what? I see your, I don't know, it doesn't have like a name next to it, but it just says butterfly. It says Hilga has already taken accountability. And y'all know, if you're new to my space, I don't say certain people's names in here because it will draw stands. And so I don't like my lives to get taken over in the comments. So Hilga has already taken accountability. I don't think there's a point of coming for her. As a therapist, I'm gonna push back on that gently. What we've seen is not actually accountability. What we've seen is like an acknowledgement. And those are two separate things. That is a part of accountability, but is not accountability. Accountability also requires changed behavior. And hot take, but neither did Amaya. That's so cute. Accountability has like typically around 4 different components, right? So you're going to acknowledge, you're going to apologize, you're going to name explicitly, and then you're going to actually change behavior. Yeah, and Emma, it's like when you apologize only, but see, Pretty Mogul, so that's where I'm gonna push back, right? It's like she apologized, but then she would go to the next partner and do the same exact thing. So then behavior didn't change because now you're apologizing to that person for doing the same thing you just did with the last one. So behavior didn't change, she just changed the person. Does that make sense? Oh, I agree, Violet. I agree. Um, Fingerprint person, who are you talking about when you said she did all that? Exactly, Shayla. Exactly, Igloo. Take accountability for what? Eyes. What did Shelly and Alandra need to apologize and take accountability for? Oh, you think that Hilga took accountability? I disagree. As a clinician, I did not see any change behavior from her. I saw her saying a lot. I know that, I didn't do this. Hi, Lynn. I know I didn't do this, and I'm gonna do better. Okay, well, let me see you actually do it. Actually do better. But instead, what she did was continue to like fuel certain things, right? So to me, that's not a change in behavior. Yeah, well, we could have seen it in the villa though, right? Or we could have seen it after the villa, right? While she's saying, for example, when she's telling Shelly how she recognizes these things and how she, oh, thank you so much, Lynn, how she, apologizes and that she shouldn't have done it. So then, babe, why'd you bring it back up in the challenge if you didn't think it was anything wrong with what you did? You took accountability by apologizing to the person that you were sitting in front of because you knew that that was what was expected of you. But then you brought it back up, right? Because you didn't actually think you were wrong. So she needed to just stand on that. My thing is, I don't give a fuck if you feel like you didn't do nothing wrong, baby, that's cool. But just be a grown up enough to stand on it. Don't try to shift the narrative based on who you sit in front of. We're gonna just agree to disagree, Fingerprint, because nah. I'm not talking about Pretty Moga. I'm not talking about Amaya. I was talking about, in that instance, I was talking about Hilga. Amaya, when I say she did it again, right? She blew up on Ace. That's the first time we saw her blow up, right? She then apologized. They moved on, whatever. But then we also saw her have the same communication problems with Zach. We saw her have the same communication problems with Austin, right? So like, it's like I didn't see that evolve for her. We saw her have the same communication. Well, actually, Ace wasn't the first time. Shelly was. That was the first time. I don't say their real names so as not to draw their fans in here. Yari. Hi, Keb. Thank you, Paris. Hi, Paris. Everyone's business? Or do you just mean Hilga? Are you a Hilga fan? Pretty Mogul. I think that you should maybe rewatch some scenes. That's what I'll say. Um, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do in my life. Go figure. Go figure. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do in my life. Hi, Ivy. Oh, thank you, pretty tea. You know what? They come in here because they see these little cutie patooties on my screen. And then they want to come in here and just act a fool. You know what? I'm gonna, Lex, I see your question. What about Shelly not taking accountability for how she made Ace feel? And then somebody asked me, I did have, hi, husband. Gigi, he has been conjured. Lena, I have not talked about the Kiki podcast in here, but I do have like 3 videos about it at this point. I made 1 video when I should have made 3 to begin with. Hi, Solar. Hi, Shink. And so, I am a legit therapist, y'all. That is my actual job. Did someone think I was lying? But you're not talking about something Olandria did. Yeah, if y'all see my mods in here, if you see the stands in here saying cray-cray things about Olandria or Shelly, please feel free to mute them. Yeah, they can't help themselves. Okay, K-Boogie, they can't help themselves. Thank you, Paris. The reunion is on next Monday. Okay, wait, Lex, I'm sorry. You did ask the question. Will you ask it one more time? I'm sorry, because I didn't want to respond to you. Why didn't Shelly take accountability about how she made Ace feel? I'm realizing it's early in the day. I felt like a lot of these Hilga fans should have already been back at school. My kids are back at school this week. I will say this. I will say this, Lexi, because I think that's a great question. And I feel like you're asking it in good faith. So I'm definitely going to respond. Hi, Stevie. I'm definitely going to respond in good faith. So I will say this. They are better than Marcel. Violet, you're funny. Oh, no. Okay, sorry. Okay, let me stay focused. Now you're on a lunch break, Camille. Okay, sorry. Y'all, I'm trying to stay focused. Okay. I'm going to say this. I feel like, let me find it. Okay, when it came down to the heart rate challenge and how Ace told Shelly that he felt about the heart rate challenge, to me, it gave, I don't know if I think this is real. I think that Ace was afraid Shelly was going to be mad at him. And so he needed something, because the reality is so let me paint this picture. And I don't even like talking about the heart rate challenge because it feels so tired at this point. Yeah, Shelly, I get it. And so, hi, Monjama. And so I will say this. Thank you so much for the roses. And yes, she did, Raven. She did. But I want to respond to Lexi's question. So again, I don't enjoy talking about this challenge because I feel like it's so played at this point. But I will say this. When they're doing the challenge, thank you, Lillian. He was upset about her doubling back on Chris, but there was a very clear expectation in their dynamic at that point that she was exploring Chris. And challenges historically have been to demonstrate who we are interested in, right? And I want to be clear that the split, I think so too, Davi. I think we got a lot of really bad editing, and I'm hopeful that we're going to see the whole thing. Lissa, but you're in here talking about it with us. So are you not also still on it? Okay. So a split and a kiss is different than, and I just need us to be clear that that's different than putting your poo-poo, your hot box on somebody's face while you're wearing a thong. Those are different. Okay, well, good. Those are different. And I want us to just be like honest about that, right? I think he probably was hurt, Emma. And the reality is if Coco had stayed in that villa, he'd have been exploring her. And I don't think we would have been having some of the conversations that we saw the two of them have, right? Because Shelly never gave him flack about exploring. So I don't think, so Mistress, I see your question. Will you drop it after I finish answering this one? So I don't think that we would have been having that conversation had Coco stayed in the villa, right? I think this was a matter of, this is my opinion, right? Based on how I saw him move throughout his entire time in the villa, that I don't think we would have been having this conversation if Coco had stayed in the villa. It was only because, exactly, Kirby Siren, it was only because she was not there, but Shelly was exploring someone. So now it felt uncomfortable for him. He was having to watch rather than being able to be the person engaging. I said what I said, okay? And so for me, what it gave was, I also want to be upset about something, right? And he may have actually registered something in his body. I'm not going to take that from him, right? He may have actually registered something in his body, but was it, I tell my clients all the time, you need to recognize the difference between what's on your plate and what's on somebody else's plate. Right? Did they make you feel that way, or you felt that way and it's not necessarily a result of their actions? You felt that way because it triggered something else in you. And so it's your job to do the work of recognizing what people are actually accountable for and what you're accountable for. Right? And so for me, if I had been the therapist in the villa, my conversation with Ace would have been about us exploring, okay, when you saw that happening, what did you notice in your body? Where did you feel that in your body? Tell me the first thought or memory or word that comes up as you think about that, right? And we would have explored, what is that actually about, right? Because I don't think that it was really... Exactly. Because what did Ace tell us, Dabi? I don't lose. So the fact that they were in that challenge and she gave even a whiff of somebody else might actually be in competition with you, right? And so for me, it was giving threat. It was giving fear, right? Because I do think he actually likes Shelly. I mean, they're saying they love each other at this point, right? And so I think, so I'll say that part about the Ace piece, right? So I don't think, Lexi, that this was like, Shelly made him feel this way. I think that feeling was related more to his own internal personal shit, right? Hi, user XXV09. You know, and so, Paris, I'm going to be live tonight for a much longer time, and I will definitely be discussing that. And the panel will be up here and all the things. User, we're talking, somebody asked me, Lexi asked me, what I felt about Shelly not taking accountability for making Ace feel away about, I am early, Adelaide. I'll be back later tonight. About, Shelly not taking accountability about how she made Ace feel during the heart rate challenge. Exactly. Hi, Natasha. Hi, Ian. Yeah, I'll be back, y'all. So if you haven't registered, you can register for the live later today. So I do feel like that was more about, hi, son. It was more about like what he was feeling in his body. And that as a clinician, that would have been the work that I did with him around that. Is like, what is this actually about? Right? Because there's not really a reason for you to be, there's not a reason, but being shocked and like disturbed by the fact that she is doubling back on someone that you don't have to register, Brianna, but I think it like alerts you if you do, by someone that she told you she's exploring is like, well, why? What's not clocking for you? She's standing on business, right? Like, so like what about it is like the hump that you need to get over around that, right? And so I think, right, what was happening for Shelly, and I've talked about this 1,000 times, but I'm happy to answer the question. Thank you, Sylvia, right, is that for her with Hilga, it was always about principle, right? And I've talked about this before, but I'm happy to do it again. What these people in the villa were doing this season, they were calling rules boundaries. Because I think a lot of people don't know where boundaries are. And that's fair. I didn't always know what boundaries were either. Okay. But a lot of them were making rules instead of boundaries. And so the way that rules work is it's about controlling other people. It's about making a standard for other people, whereas boundaries are about making standards for ourselves. Yeah, y'all, Y'all can disagree in the comments all you want, but please keep it cute with each other. Exactly. She wanted reciprocity. That's all it was, right? Exactly. Boundaries are things that I won't do. Rules are things that other people can do, right? And so when Hilga was saying, oh, like this is my boundary around like how she wanted people to engage with Jeremiah, it was never about how she should engage. It was always about what she wanted from other people. And so this was the first time in this moment, right, where they're having the challenge. We're now weeks in to our couplings, right? It's a little bit more serious, right? This is the first time that they're getting to see, oh, that was never about what you were going to do for us. This was about what you expected us to do for you. And that is what disturbed her. Because Shelly said, I know that nobody wants my man. I'm going to call her whatever I want to. I know that nobody wants my man. She said that. She said that. So to her, it was never about feeling worried about like, oh, she wants my man, even though we did hear that girl say in the podcast that. Anyway. Exactly, Tay. Exactly. So like we did hear her say that, right? But I will say that it was in the villa. It wasn't for her about, oh, you're trying to take my man. It was just about, damn, girl, you asked me to do this and I did that for you. Why are you not doing it for me? And it was realizing, oh, you were just trying to control. You were just making a rule. You weren't actually considering any sort of, like, this wasn't an actual boundary. There was never going to be any reciprocity. There was never going to be any back and forth in this, right? And every friendship should have reciprocity. Every relationship should have reciprocity, right? And so that was what was clicking for her in that moment, which is what caused the frustration. Somebody asked me what I thought about Shelly not taking accountability with how she made Ace feel. So for her, it wasn't even necessarily about what they did or like necessarily what like Ace was doing in that moment. It was more so about, why are you not considering me the way you've asked me to consider you? Right? And so when Ace and her then have this conversation, for me, that really registered as Ace was afraid that she was going to be mad at him because all he could see was her having a big blow up. He didn't know what she was over there having a big moment about, right? So when they have this conversation, I don't think I've said before that I do think she could have offered more validation around his feelings, because validation does not require you to agree. Nobody said that, Samana. Yes, Violet, we can talk about it a little bit, but I am also going to talk about it later tonight. I already addressed that, Sunface. I know you weren't in here, but I don't want to repeat it again. I'm sorry. Thanks, Jasmine. Exactly, Ruth, right? So I do think she could have offered more validation around like, okay, Violet, cool. I did record like an hour of it, so I'm going to go watch it, but I also was in it. No, it's happening on Monday. This is just the trailer that got put out. So I do think that she did a good job around holding his feelings, even though she clearly doesn't agree with them. I'm literally, because I'm always reading like body language too, because like that's my job, right? So I can't help myself. I'm always also looking at how I'm literally watching her like clocking, like you can watch her sort of like regulating herself and deciding what she's going to say in the moment. Yeah, I mean, trailer sneak peek. Yeah. Thank you. There's it's on their Instagram. So maybe that's what you're talking about. Maybe it's called a sneak peek. I don't know. To me, it was like a trailer. I don't know. Same thing in my head. But, so yeah. So I could literally watch her like deciding what she was going to say. So I do think she was like holding back quite a bit, around it, and trying to just make space for his feelings, you know? And okay, thank you, Jay, for clearing that up. And so, see, De'Ara, I it didn't register to me like she didn't care. It just felt like, and I've said this before, people don't like it when I say it, but I think that they could work on their communication skills. I know, dark skin lover girl, I may have to just go ahead and start doing some lives earlier in the day too. I'm always like at night, you know what I mean? Oh, thank y'all for the follows. Thank you for the likes. And that's true too, Janae, right? Hi, CK. So I do feel like she attempted to. And I've always said I feel like she could have offered more validation. Validation might have looked like, I hear you. What you're saying is that you felt upset because you felt like I double back on Chris, and I'm a person that moves with a lot of intentionality, and so you can't believe that I possibly would have been doing it without intention. It really registered. Hi, SK. It really registered for you. Thank you for subscribing, son. Hi, Danielle. Good morning. It registered to you as like, oh, this must mean something more. This must mean, right? And so she could have done that, right? Because again, validation, you don't have to agree with that shit. You're just saying, if I were in your shoes, because I'm actively listening to you, this is probably what I might feel. You're just validating like, yeah, that makes sense, right? I don't know that she really did that so much as she was like, I understand, and I can, like apologize. Well, she didn't actually apologize, I think, actually. But she like understood, you know what I mean? So she could have offered a little bit more validation, but I really don't think she needed to offer any sort of apology. I personally don't think she needed to be sorry. I think that they needed to have more clear expectations around what pursuit of someone looked like. Because to me, she was doing exactly what you might do if you were actively pursuing someone and exploring someone. And my personal take is that I feel like Shelly got guilted into really being like, no, let's lock it in, right? Because then we watched this man for 40 days and 40 nights. I'm exaggerating, obviously. Like be very mopey and sad. And like he was very sort of like distraught and torn up about what had happened between them. And to me, it just, I didn't like it. I didn't like that he couldn't just take it to the chin. This is part of the experience. And she's had to watch you do this too. You know what I mean? And so to me, it just didn't feel fair. Now, I will say, somebody mentioned Meg, my girly pop in here. I mean, maybe, Ray, maybe it did, or Rara, I'm sorry. Maybe it did, because she did say that like, oh, Danielle, somebody asked me what I thought about No Champagne Mommy on Monday. What I thought about Shelly not taking accountability for how she made Ace feel. I hope you're still in here, Lex. Hi, Shanika. I will say that I do think that she attempted to when they went to go have the boundary conversation. And I have a whole video about this, y'all. But they wasn't going to get nowhere in that conversation once that man said that doesn't make you right. Now, I know it's edited, so maybe he didn't say it right after she said it. But once that came out, like if I was their clinician and I was watching them have this conversation, because sometimes you will let clients fight in session to see how they fight so that you can better like help them navigate their communication skills. If I was that would have been the thing that I pointed out. This was what happened for you emotionally. What did you notice in your body? Why was that what came out, right? And so, because really what that is that's defensiveness. He felt like he needed to protect himself, right? It was at that point, it was no longer, we're not even having a conversation anymore. We're in a competition about who's going to be right and who's going to be wrong. And if that's where you are with your partner, you're going to really struggle to get anywhere productive in the conversation. And so for me, I was like, oh, any level of like moving forward wasn't going to happen anymore. And bye, Camille. I'll see you later. I'll be back later tonight. Enjoy class. They weren't going to get anywhere anymore in that particular conversation. Thank you for the follows, y'all. And I've said it before, but I'm happy to say it again because I'm realizing it's a lot of people in here. Hi, Bales, that have maybe never seen me before, right? We didn't ever see them really kind of come back around to like who they were as a couple until the doc. It doesn't air until the 25th. This was the sneak peek. Hi, Nessa. Somebody asked me what I thought about. Thank you so much, Shanika. Somebody asked me what I thought about Shelly not taking accountability for how she made Ace feel, and I'm giving them my thoughts. We don't really see them come back around until the dock when Shelly makes breakfast and they sit down, and then we see them kind of go like, whew, as a couple. But I didn't really appreciate how much emotional work she had to do in a situation where she was the person that felt initially wronged. And I agree, Shay. I do think that we did not see a lot of conversations. Thank y'all so much for the follows and for the likes. I know we didn't see a lot of the conversations for sure. And even if those conversations were happening, he still brought it up in the Stand on Business challenge, right? And I know people said, oh, they talked after that too. That's cute. And we still watched him sad face bring flowers and breakfast every morning, right? Like they never really recovered as a couple until that breakfast on the dock. Tay, this is what I said in my video and people were mad. Carmi, I felt like we did see the resolution. I felt like the resolution was that dock. That was the first time that I saw them really like move forward. And so, yeah, Tay, that's the number one thing I've said is that, Day, I think he's very emotionally mature for his age. They have a 5-year age gap, Fancy Nancy. He just turned 23 and she'll be 28 in a couple, or when the next Monday, she'll be 28. So they have 5 years difference. And I say all the time, y'all, 5 years is not really the big deal because that's not that different, right? It's because of where the 5 years are. Thank you so much for the gifts. Right? Like you probably don't have your 16-year-old cousin hanging out with the 11-year-old cousin, right? Because they're just very different developmentally with that 5 years. Whereas someone that's 35 and 30 are not that different developmentally. Exactly, Cammie. It's because of where the 5 years is that it makes a difference. Yeah. So, okay, somebody asked me what I thought about. I know, Tay, I wish too. And that's what I said is right. Like I said in my video, people were very mad at me. You just don't like Shelly and Ace. I was like, babe, I voted for them until they left the villa. What are you talking about? I have 6 people in my house and our votes were always being split between Nicolandria and Ace and Shelly. I am going to be live tonight with my panel, Millie Mae. I was like, let me just try getting on earlier in the day because I never do to see what happens. That's cool, Roxy. I still think what I think though. And I will say this too, right? Hi, Jasmine. To your point, right? Gender also plays into that dynamic. But I said, right, rah, I agree. I will be live at 4 p.m. Pacific time, which is 5 p.m. Mountain time, 6 p.m. Central, and 7 p.m. Eastern. I don't know that Amaya's not. I know that Hilga's not. I will say too, right, that what I said in my video, which I thought was very fucking reasonable, is that they just need to like work through this communication piece. Like there's something that they can make it. It's about whether or not they're willing to do the work around the parts that need to be worked around. I don't say her name because I try not to draw them in here, but some of them made it in here anyway, y'all. They seen Shelly and Alandria in the background and were like, let me go in here and be assholes. Shayla, you know what? Y'all not gonna like this comment probably. But well, I think definitely potentially, I think who we'll see are the boys. I think the boys will be the ones that try to like see both sides. Okay, Cammie. Yeah, I'm totally fine with people liking, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's totally fine. Somebody asked me something else. Do I think that they're, did you say a solid couple or a real couple? Hold on. A solid couple. I think from what we've seen, they have the potential to be. I think that, you know, from what we've seen, I have no reason to think that they're not. Cha-Cha, maybe that too. Maybe that too. Exactly, Lilac. It's like, right? Like, you have no skin in the game. But I can't stand a devil's advocate either. Exactly. But as far as we know, user, they are just still dating. Like, I want people to remember their timeline. They didn't couple up until the end of the last week of the villa, right? So unlike some of the other couples that had maybe more of like a fast-paced dating experience, like talking about Shelly and Ace or Taylor and Clark, because they're spending 24 hours together, 7 days a week for multiple weeks in a row as a couple, they only did that for 1 week of their beginning, you know, of their coupling. And so now they're dating in the real world. So I think we will see their timeline continue to be slower. Because that's what makes sense, right? It's one thing when you're spending hundreds of hours together as a couple. They didn't get that same experience. And so I think they're moving at a pace that makes sense. And based on that pacing and what we see from them, I would say that they're pretty solid. My reunion predictions, I think that Shelly is going to try to manage some of the things that Ace says. Exactly. Exactly. I think that, good morning, boo. I did meet, and I'm going live again later tonight, and I will talk about it then. I recorded like an hour of it so that I could watch it back as well. Yeah, they do have a lot of potential astrologically with him. I've said this before, like him being a Pisces and her being a Gemini. I said this before they were even like coupled up, that I understood how they could be like really close friends. Because I'm a Pisces and my son is a Gemini, and we definitely play off of each other very well. So I could see like just them like getting along really well. Like that made sense to me that they were like really good friends. Shit, somebody asked me something that I was answering and I forgot already. Oh, my reunion predictions. Leanne, it's not out yet. This is the sneak peek. Okay. Exactly. Period. So plush. Period. And I will say that like she's very close to, I guess, like Taurus because of where her placement is. And my best friends are all Tauruses. So yeah, I just totally could get why they would like be really good friends. Okay, reunion predictions. I don't know if we're gonna see a lot of like Iris and Pepe like talking. What about it unavailable? I guess I'm curious what you mean. Like, what about it? Jamila, I actually think that when you have a really strong friendship base that you are attracted to each other physically and there is romance there, that you do have the potential to have a really strong romantic relationship. So I could see that for them very easily. User, it's giving financial abuse in a nutshell. Like I do have some thoughts about it in my video, but like it's inappropriate. To think that someone owes you something because you bought them something is, you're not giving out of the goodness of your heart or as like because that's just who you are as a person. It's I'm giving, it's as a person. It's I'm giving, it's okay, Athena. I'm so randomly on today. You're giving to create a sense of obligation. You know what I mean? I don't know, Pete. I think because a lot of people are accustomed to, I mean, if you think about larger narratives, right? Larger narratives suggest that like men should not like their wives. That's what we see all the time, right? Like, oh, the ball and chain. Oh, my life is ended now that I'm married, right? Like you're not supposed to actually like the person that you're with. You know what I mean? Like, which is so fucking weird. But that's what we see in larger culture. This idea that like your man is not actually supposed to enjoy you. that you're supposed to be like annoying to some extent, right? And so I think people, when they see friendship, they don't always immediately clock that as a big factor in healthy romance as well, because we have so many narratives and so many like stories about, yes, Jamie, okay, about like that not being true. Red Keb, I would say, I don't know enough about her family to know what they like might do, but I like, as far as what I think next best steps are, if you're dealing with a family member that's in a situation like that, exactly, K Boogie. He's so funny. It's like not even just the ankles. It's like damn near the calf. It's so funny. Okay, sorry. I'm focused. I'm gonna do predictions, y'all. Okay. I think he was arguing with, hi, Erica, Cammy. I think he was talking to Ace. That's who I think. Only because I know that, like, I'm sure the conversation is going to come around about them, about the love bombing again. And I think that what they're talking about in that moment is about, thank you, Jennifer, is about the, like, certain things that they saw, and him saying, like, don't weaponize those things. He also could be talking to Hilga, though. Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay. Let me think of all the people that are here. I really don't have any predictions about Casa people, y'all. Other than I think that Coco is going to definitely have something said to her or attempt to say something. He didn't, Fancy Nancy. He didn't. They just don't know what words mean, and they use them. The only person that y'all have seen love bomb from this show is who? Y'all know who I'm going to say. Anybody that's been in my lives knows exactly who I'm going to say. The only person you've seen love bomb on this show is who? Correct, Gigi. Correct. Yes, Shayla. Yes, Kate Boogie. Stasia, he's not on this season, but I feel you. Lena, yes, the only person that we have actively seen in real time love bombing someone is Taylor. And I have a whole video. It's actually pinned to the top of my page because it had gotten recorded and shared outside of TikTok. And so I pinned it because people were then looking for me. Yep, Ginger, good question, about abuse cycles. So what you're watching him do, right, is they have these moments of what we're... Gigi! Alexia, I have videos about it if you want to go watch, babe. Yeah, you know, the beautiful thing about social media is that we get access to so much more, but also the negative thing is that, exactly, Ginger, the negative thing, right, is that people get access to language that they don't always know what it means, and they just use it, you know, without any thought around the consequence of the language. It's next Monday, Stasia. So what you're seeing is, you're seeing these moments of like discontent, and then what does he do? They go shopping, right? He buys her things, right? He's keeping her isolated, right? And I'm using that loosely because I think that I don't know if I think he does everything consciously. I don't know enough about him to know if I believe that. But either way, right? Like the fact that they've spent so much time together, very little time apart since they've left the villa, right? This is what we would see. Like, he's saying that he already loves her in the Kiki interview. And the Kiki interview was a week after they left the villa, and they had only been coupled up for like a couple weeks. So you love her after 3 weeks? That's a lot. That's a lot very quickly. You're spending all this money on her. That is the only person that y'all could say you've actually watched in real time love bombing happen. But what's wild is nobody's been able to actually, very few people, I should say, have been able to actually clock that. Oh, that's too bad. He's not immature. I mean, he is maybe immature, Paris. And it's not about him. Exactly, Jasmine. It's not about him playing too much. Like, that's not playful. That's just him attempting to humble and embarrass her, right? Like, why are you talking about her shoes and her clothes, like her shoes being busted? to a live full of, like, why would you? I just don't anyway. No, I do think he is like, exactly, Lele. It is immature for sure. I don't know. I don't know if I think that. I don't know if I think that she's clocking it and it's gonna leave. But I did make a video for my subscribers where I said maybe she's waking up from the stupor, and I pointed out some things that were happening. So maybe. But I don't know. We'll have to see. Okay, sorry y'all. Reunion predictions. I don't have any predictions about, again, Casa people, other than I think either yes, Clarks. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Okay. Except maybe Coco saying something or them saying something to Coco about the interview. Um and then okay, so who was all in the villa? Amaya and Brian honestly have been very uninteresting. No shade. Since they've left the villa, I don't know that we're going to hear a lot from them. I think we're going to see a lot of like what we've seen so far from them, right? A lot of her body turning toward him, a lot of her leaning into him. And I've said this before, I don't care. I feel like he is along for the ride in a lot of ways. He never, so in therapy, we have this thing that we call turning toward, right? And so we'll do certain exercises with couples in therapy where when certain things are going on, we physically have them turn toward each other, because that is a way to demonstrate emotional turning toward as well, and emotional connection, right? And so I agree, Free 99. We're talking about, I'm giving my prediction about Amaya and Brian at the reunion, Jade. And I never see Brian turn toward her. I never seen him turn his body into her or lean into her or pull her closer. He's kind of just existing in her space. So I think we're going to continue to get a whole lot of nothing from them at the reunion. And I have said, and I will say it here too, that I do not see them lasting more than a year as a couple. I would not be, good morning, V. I would not be shocked if we got an announcement at the reunion or very shortly after. And honestly, if I'm keeping it a buck, y'all, I actually think that's to Amaya's benefit. I think she would soar a lot more without him. OZBN, I'm giving my predictions about the reunion, and right now I'm talking about Amaya and Brian. Okay. Y'all want to hear about Shalace and Nicolandria. Oh, somebody wants to know my opinion on Pepe and Iris. Pepe and Iris to me always gave Summer Lovin' Had Me a Blast, Anaya, and I don't think it's anything wrong with that. I've also said that I haven't seen enough from them outside of the villa that demonstrates any sort of emotional depth that makes me feel like, you know, maybe it's something more, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. It just greased lightning. It just means I haven't seen it. You know what I mean? In the villa, I didn't get to see like enough depth emotionally to be like, oh, they're definitely going to make it forever, right? I saw a lot of like fun and connectedness, and I think that's beautiful and like great to have. It's a great experience. And that's true. Totally possible, Pep Iris. Totally true, or possible, Athena. I definitely think it gives them an advantage, MK. I personally don't have enough data to say, oh yeah, I can see them like lasting forever. You know what I mean? I don't have enough information to say that. The only information I have makes me feel like it's just like more of like a fun thing. And I don't think that they're ever gonna like have like a negative experience. Like I don't think that they're gonna like have a big negative falling out. I think that if they conclude as a couple, it'll be very amicable. They'll still remain friends. Like that would be what I would see for them. Nick and Alandria. Maybe Portia. Maybe. No, it's not out yet. Okay, K Boogie, what's your question? Nick and Alandria and Shelly and Ace. I do have a video, y'all, where I give all my predictions about all the couples, but I will say Shelly and Ace, I think that Shelly is going to keep it very diplomatic and very cute because that's how we've seen her move. I don't know why all of a sudden she would be different at the reunion. I think that we might see her very directly address some things with Hilga because we saw her do that. Again, I've said this before. I feel like Shelly has a big like she's very capable of addressing problematic behavior when it directly impacts her. And so I do think that she will say something probably to Hilga about that interview. Y'all, I don't like to say her name. I don't want them to be all up in here. With Hilga. Okay, hold on. K Boogie said, I didn't really understand what happened between Grayson and Pepe. Yes, could I explain that issue? K Boogie, nothing happened between Grayson and Pepe if we want to keep it a buck. Grayson just was upset, which I get. I get her feelings were hurt. I get it. And Pepe did exactly what he should have done. Pepe did what Taylor thought he did. Pepe said, day 2, I'm realizing it's not there. I'm going to let her know so that she can move around. He didn't know an elimination was coming the next day. He didn't know that. He recognized the spark wasn't there and he released her. That's exactly what he should have done. Grayson was just hurt by it. And, you know, again, I've said this before. I think that Love Island sets girls up to want to be picked. Right? Because that's literally what you have to, like, that's what has to happen for you to stay on the island. And so I think that it felt offensive, right? And I think that she was maybe embarrassed. But I don't think actually anything really happened with them. V, I think so. So I don't know if Jeremiah is still in therapy, but I know that he's done therapy before. And I have said very explicitly, if he was my client, and I knew he was going to the reunion, we would definitely be role-playing that conversation. The reunion is on Monday. We would be role-playing that conversation so that he felt like he could go into that conversation and have it in a good way that felt good for him. So I do think that potentially he's been working on building that. And thank you, Lisa. I agree, Violet. Okay, Ivy, I hear that, and Shayla, that Grayson felt blindsided because her and Pepe had been intimate. This is why, and we've talked about this on my lives before, we have to understand that when we are having smex, we're doing it because we want to, not because we think it's going to garner us something. Sex can be transactional in a lot of instances, but in a relationship, that's not how you should be using it. Not in a romantic relationship. You know what I mean? Like, if you're having smex with someone and then you believe that means that now they need to, I didn't remember them being intimate. I don't remember Grayson and Pepe being intimate, but y'all are saying they were. But we have to remember that, like, that doesn't mean that's gonna, I don't remember them being intimate. Okay, they weren't. I didn't remember them being intimate. Oh, they kissed. I mean, but everybody was kissing. I didn't remember that. Okay, yeah. Okay, they weren't. They weren't actually. Oh, she said it post Villa. So we just didn't see it. She said it post Villa, Shayla? Oh my gosh. I be saying, yes, she said it post Villa. Now, why we ain't get that everywhere? Okay, someone saying they only kiss. Y'all, which is it? Which is it? Pepe was there on his Hot Boy Summer. That's why I said, like, for me, it's just giving they're having fun, and that's okay. Like, I wasn't ever mad at Hannah for doing her thing. I'm not mad at Iris for doing her thing. You feel me? Like, hey, do what they do, baby. Right? But we're also not watching them do that and then being like, now you owe me something. Right? We're not watching Hannah and Iris then say, it comes out next Monday, like, you owe me something now because that happened. I think when you have to know your own self. You have to know yourself. If you know that you're going to feel like strings are now attached and now you're connected and you're involved because you've had sex, you have to be more careful with how you have sex, right? Not everybody can have casual sex, and that's okay. You need to know your own self. For real, Tay. For real. Portia, I don't want nobody thinking like a man. I mean, wait, hold on. I didn't mean it like that, y'all. I didn't mean it like that. I just want you to think logically and smart, and that is not inherent to a man. I love you too. Y'all, sometimes my intrusive thoughts be making it out. Actually, Ivy, I can understand that, but I think that actually Hannah was definitely on her hot girl summer too. So I felt like Bae would have been a good fit in that way. No, I get you, Portia. I get you. She definitely needed to think differently. She probably needs to, like, you know, talk to somebody about better understanding what her boundaries need to be around the way that she moves with her intimacy. Predictions on Hilga, I think that she's gonna attempt to, like, avoid being, like, accountable, but I think that Andy's probably gonna attempt to hold her feet to the fire. I don't know how successful he'll be. I know that it's gonna be on Peacock. Shay, don't turn it off, because then you're gonna turn it off in like the first 2 minutes. Okay, wait. Hi, Monsi. Okay, my Nicolandria predictions about the reunion explicitly. Like, yes, boo, what's going on? You about to go for your walk? Okay, baby. Be safe. Love you. You know, Shy, I feel like they're gonna piss me off and give me one. And that's, they're gonna have to put them up. Put them up, Peacock. Put them up. Do y'all know that? Do y'all know what I'm doing that from? I'm dating myself. Okay, sorry. Nick and Alandria. Okay, yes, Shanika. Yes, Cara. Yes, Lisa. Okay. Yes. Okay, I think that Nick will, actually, I think that, Violet, it is what it is. It is what it is. I think that, yes, Cara, yes. I think that Nick is actually going to have a lot to say. What I worry about the most with Nick is, like, so as an ADHD person, hi, Dominique. I often have to, like, practice my conversations beforehand so that I can, like, make sure I get all my shit in, you know? And so I hope that, like, he's been, you know, they've been kind of talking about, or he's been talking to someone about the conversations he wants to have so that he feels like he can really, like, say what he needs to say. They did it, and they did it. Once your contract is terminated with them, they don't get invited back. So Yulissa nor 404 will be there. So I think he's going to have a lot to say. I think that Alandria is going to let him. I think so too. I don't see it either, Slim. Someone said, Shay said that Nick can be too diplomatic. I think a lot of things. I know that Nick has the ability to not. This is impromptu, Anika. I'll be back later tonight. I did, and it was so cringy, Mimi. I think that Nick is going to have a lot to say, and he does, right? Like, that's part of the way that our brains work as ADHD people, is like a lot is going on upstairs at the same time. And so I do think that he's going to need to make sure that he's like prepared. I don't know what sort of like therapies or interventions or anything he's done to like know how to manage like the way that his brain works as an ADHD person. So like maybe, no, for real. So like maybe he knows I don't know. I don't know what he knows, but I do hope that he's been giving himself the opportunity to kind of think through what he wants to do. He has like maybe some bullet points, you know what I mean? Um, I did, Keisha Ann. I did. I made like 3 different posts. Yeah, Cammy, his sister, came out and told everybody that he has ADHD. Because she was letting people know that him blinking is actually a tic. People with ADHD oftentimes you might see them also have like tics. Yeah, Chelsea. And so I hope that right, exactly, P. If he isn't prepared, then he will probably drop the ball on something. So I do think it's going to be important when it comes to that. Wait, K Boogie, say why. And then I will say too that I think that Alandria is going to clock some things as well. Yep, P. My son bites his nails. It's on Monday, Jen. I think Alandria is going to clock some things. I really hope that she gives herself the opportunity. I hope she gives herself the permission to not have to keep it cute, because she knows that this is the last time that they're contractually obligated to have these sorts of conversations. But I also don't know what her management, like what anybody's management team has advised him at this point, right? So like, I think that also plays a factor. Like we have no idea what their management teams are telling them to do when it comes to navigating these conversations. So I want to be fair in that way as well. Um, exactly, Kev. I agree, you know? And so, yeah, Stevie, like at this point, their identities are their brands, right? Oh, I feel you. I feel you. I feel you, K Boogie, for sure. I agree. I think that, you know, there are some people that need to have their feet held to the fire. I just wonder whether or not they're going to feel like they finally can. I know that, again, Alandra did say she was gathering all of her receipts, right? But this was also very soon after they left the villa. I don't know what might have changed since then. I agree. I agree that like we don't it's complicated though, right? Like yes, I don't want you to be so concerned with other people think of you or how they read you, and I would be a liar, and I've talked about this on my lives before. I am so conscious of the fact that yes, I am a black woman, but I am a light-skinned black woman, and I get to say things that other black women don't. And so I'm not going to say, oh, they just need to clock everybody's tea, fuck what everybody thinks, because that's just not real. It's just not real in the United States that they can do that. They got called mean girls for speaking directly to someone. You know what I mean? You know what? Viva, I think it's because he finally got clarity about what actually happened. He now knows Nick didn't vote for him, because I think a lot of his shade was about him thinking that Nick had betrayed him, and now he knows that Nick voted for Austin that night. No, they weren't mean girls. Boop. Get it out of here. It's out on Monday. Minnie. Yeah, Viva, nothing directly. I mean, he spoke very highly of Melandria. He called her the soul of the villa. I think he's lying, but he said that she was someone that he would have pursued at some point, right? So I think really his reservation was simply just about Nick. Yeah, people don't understand what it means to be mean, because people only understand niceness, and niceness is performative. It's not real. I think that Shelly and Alandria are very kind, right? Kindness means that I'm actually evaluating your behaviors toward me and I'm responding to you. Niceness is not kindness. Exactly. Exactly. They absolutely take buzzwords and run with them. They were not mean simply because they spoke. And I'm not mean just because I don't like you. You're not going to like everybody that you meet. That's okay. Yeah, I'm going to be kind. My kids used to tell me, like my students, oh, you're so nice. And I would say, no, I'm not. I'm kind. Because the day is going to come where I'm going to have to hold you to task around something, right? And so you need to understand that that's not me being mean. Kindness is compassion. Kindness is love. Kindness is also correction. No, the reunion's on Monday, 444. Exactly. Janae, you know, they be like, oh, those cute little black girls, let me get in there and say something about them. They be so fucking aggy about people, about these women. Like, exactly, Shayla. Thank you. You think I read fast, Beatrice? I be trying to keep up, but I be missing a lot of the comments. Yeah, and separation isn't bullying. To Nick's point, he said, right, that there was a separation, and we heard him say this in the villa, which is why I didn't understand why people tried to like twist around what the man said. He said there was a separation. He said for some valid reasons. Like, I'm not going to like everyone that I meet, and I'm not going to want to be friends with everybody just because we're living together doesn't mean you're my friend. That doesn't mean I'm going out of my way to be mean to you. I'm just not kicking it with you. You think that you're owed my presence? Why do you think that? Why do you think that you're owed my friendship? Why do you think that I'm obligated to that? Exactly. Exactly. They had valid reasons for feeling like that. And he said that. It's like that whole, you know, well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions, you know? Like you're emotionally taxing and exhausting as if everybody's not having their own emotional experiences. Like something I said about them as well was when that whole after the Stand on Business challenge happened and they were sitting there and Alandria, she was like, am I just a terrible person? And Alandria says, you're not terrible, but like you did too much. And then she's like, okay, I'm going to go get my food. Right? People were so mad at that. Oh, she's a mean girl. They're so mad at that. As if Alandria didn't just get dumped by the man she had been with for 3 weeks, like 2-3 days before that. Babe, I'm not... my priority right now is not you. It's not you right now. I'm having my own emotional experience, but she thought that everybody was obligated to her and her emotions. Like, I just want my toasty. Clock it, So Plush. Clock it. They asked if I don't even think in Audrey, I don't even think it's youngest child syndrome because my younger siblings are not that way. I think it just has to do with entitlement in general. You know what I mean? I do think that a lot of the friendships are going to change after the reunion airs. Viva, I don't know. I don't know if I think it would be out of fear of the fans so much as I think it would be out of Amaya's misunderstanding around what accountability looks like. I think Amaya is nice more than she's kind. And I think that, you know, it's very easy to feel like you want to empathize with someone that you perceive to be the underdog. And that makes sense to me. But sometimes it's to our own detriment. And so we have to learn to be more mindful about that. Yeah. Because they perform niceness. Hanini. Can you tell me why the Casa girls said only Hilga, Papaya, and Iris were welcoming? I think this goes like, and I know again, I don't have time to go super, super deep with y'all, but like this goes back to like the way that we understand and our culture and race to show up as women, right? And white women and women in households that are raised with an allegiance to whiteness will be raised to be nice, because this is the way you inhabit your femininity, right? And they were exactly P. They were with them for like 2 seconds. It's very easy to be nice to someone, and we have no idea how Hilga might have responded had they had more challenges and somebody been up on Chris. Right? And this is not me hating on white women. Like, it's just oh, sorry, Camilla. Camille, sorry. That's my tick. That's my little stem. Exactly. It's not about whiteness. Amaya is Dominican and Huda is Middle Eastern. I need you to understand what the system of whiteness is before you try to have that conversation with me. No shade. It's just, sometimes we don't have all the information to be having certain conversations. Thank you, London. I appreciate you naming that. Right. Whiteness is a system. It has nothing to do with race. We're all raised, if you're in the United States, for sure, you're raised under a system of whiteness. Thank you. It's a political project. I literally just said it's not about race. I need you to. Alandria said, is this on? Oh, you know what? You know what, K Boogie? They're just going to constantly... They're just going to constantly find whatever they can say about that girl. They don't act in rationality. They're just obsessed. No, it comes out on Monday. Okay, y'all, I cannot believe 400 of y'all showed up at this time. So I definitely, will probably be doing, I'm actually probably going to be, Viva, I'll be back later tonight and I'm going to talk about, exactly, they're so disingenuous. I'm going to talk about all the things. So what I'm noticing is, like, I probably should do some daytime lives as well. So on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Friday, well, Wednesday and Friday, I never book any clients. And Tuesdays, I don't book any clients in the mornings. So I don't have any clients on Tuesdays at all right now. I don't book any. Yeah. So I will probably do some lives on those days. Base, don't ask me that. Don't ask me that. Chris is actively editing them right now to post them. Exactly, Bentberry. No, it's okay, babe. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Thank you so much for the follows. Thank y'all for the likes. I did see the live. I'll be back later this evening. It is already like, if you go to my page, it'll show that the live event is scheduled for tonight. But I got to go take my daughter to get her physical for volleyball. So, but thank y'all so much for joining. Violet, it will be, tell me your time zone, Violet. It'll be 7 p.m. your time. Bye, Pete. Thank y'all for the follow. See y'all soon. I will be back later this evening. Pacific time, it'll be 4 p.m. Pacific time. Bye, y'all. See you later. Thank you for the follows. I'll see you later, and we'll have panel later tonight as well. Love y'all too.